Hi everyone, my name is Kristin Hayes and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and today we're going to be making this pretty simple, actually, sympathy card. So let's get started. Our first piece is our base, and that's basic black, and that's cut at 8.5 by 5.5, and I scored it at 4 1/4. Then I have a piece of Whisper White. This is cut at 5 by 3 3/4, and we're going to start stamping on this piece. And the first stamp set we're going to use is the Art Gallery stamp set. Now this set has matching framelits, matching dies, and you can get it together in a bundle, but for today's card we're just going to be using the stamp set. So I'm going to start with this fuller looking flower piece, and we're going to use the Tuxedo Memento Black. And what we're going to do is we're going to ink up our stamp pretty good, and then we're going to stamp off. Let me just get a little more ink on that. We're going to stamp off and then just start filling in our card. So we're just going to do that several more times. And this is, you can just do this pattern however you want. It doesn't have to be, I think 6 flowers on my first one, but I'm gonna deviate from that on this one and see what happens. And then we'll come in, let's see, we'll do this here. And don't worry about, like, see, you can, well, my sentiment's going to go over this piece, but we're coming over it with another piece as well. So don't overly worry about places that don't look like they didn't get enough ink. It will look fine in the end. And then we'll do this here. I think that's good. So then we're going to come in with this piece. Like I said, this is more of like a filler piece, and this is, so we're using black and black, but you can coordinate any colors that you want. Like I would always start with the lighter color and then use this piece for your darker color, but they just come out so gorgeous with this two-step stamping. And you're just going to come over, I line up the bottom here and the top, and it doesn't have to be exact. There we go. And we're just going to do this on each flower that we already stamped. Alrighty. Let's see. Almost there, well, halfway there at least. Let's see, this one's a little bit harder to line up just because I did it so far off the paper. That looks fine. And then we've just got 2 more to do here. And let's see, there we go. And then this next step, I forgot to get the stamp out, so let me just grab it. This is just the little stamp. This is from Friends Are Like Seashells, which is another great bundle, but we're just going to use this little stamp right here, and you can use any type of filler stamp that you have. There we go. And I'm going to use the basic gray. And all I'm going to do is come in and fill in these white spots with this. Let's see. Let's start here. And if you go into the flowers a little bit, that's fine. You could even do the whole paper and, you know, go into the flowers all over the place. Let's try this like this up here. I don't know why I'm having... And then we'll just do that. There we go. I like the way that looks. It's so funny when you do this, it comes out differently every time, unless you're lining up your flowers exactly, you know, in the same places, which is probably harder to do than it is to just do them randomly. All right, so that looks good. So we just filled that in. And then we're going to put this on a piece of real red, just to give it pop of a little bit of color. And this is cut at 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. And we're just going to adhere this together. All right, let's see. There we go. Just give that a good press. And I'm not going to adhere this to the base yet because we're going to get our sentiment together and we're going to put on some ribbon before we adhere this. So I just have a piece of scrap black and I'm going to use the Heal Your Heart stamp set. Now this is a celebration set, and if you're not familiar with celebration, it's for every $50 in product that you spend before shipping and tax, you can pick out a free select set of stamps. And this is one of the sets. I just love the fonts in this. So this is only available until February 28th. We're going to be using this Wishing I Could Heal Your Heart. And what we're going to do is we're going to heat emboss that. So I have my Versamark ink. Let's see, let's get this black out of the way. So we're going to ink that up and then just stamp it right here on our basic black. Let me just grab a scrap. I cut up my old grid paper into scraps for things like this, when I want to be able to tip the powder back into the container that I don't use. It just makes it a lot easier than using your whole grid sheet. Tap that off. And then let's just put the excess back in here. And I always want to get rid of my embossed powder, or not get rid of, but put it away before I use my heat tool because I have unintentionally blown it everywhere. Grab my heat tool and we're going to heat this up. There we go. And now we're going to run this through the Big Shot. The die I'm using for it is out of the Tasteful Labels dies, and this is just a great all-around set for sentiments, to cut them out, to give them something a little bit extra rather than, you know, you can always use your circles and cut them out rectangle or square, but this just gives a little extra something. So I use that quite a bit. I'm going to bring up my Stamp and Cut Emboss machine. Let's see, I've got it all tangled up in here. And we're just going to line this up right here. And then carefully put on the top layer so we don't move it. And then we'll send it through. Okay, let's get that out of the way. And put that over there. Okay, so now we need some ribbon. And this is the Real Red ribbon. It is, let's see, the double stitch satin ribbon. And all we're going to do is have a piece go across here. And you can put the sentiment obviously anywhere you want it. Up, you know, you could do it up here or down here. I just liked it down at the bottom for this card for whatever reason. So I'm just going to flip this over and put a little adhesive on both sides. Whoops. Great. There we go. Sometimes that Stampin' Seal doesn't want to come out so smoothly, but it does work well. It's very sticky, and actually I have this on the ribbon now. Let's see if we can get that off. You know what? I'm going to put it down here so we can't see it, and we'll still have enough to get around. There we go. Just make sure it's straight on this side. Looks pretty good. And then I'm just going to take a little more seal, and I always go over it again just to make sure. You don't ever want your ribbon coming off once your project's all put together. So we're going to adhere this to our base, so let's put a little more seal. This steel is very stubborn today. There we go. Maybe not. Oh my goodness. There we go. And then we're going to just center that on there. Then I've got some dimensionals to pop up our sentiment. Here we go. And I'm just putting them on the edges so they go around the ribbon so they don't become uneven when you put them on. Probably could have done it in 3 if you wanted. Okay, so we're just going to line that up there. And then we're going to cut another piece of ribbon. And we're just going to tuck it under the ribbon we have in place already, and then come up and do a little knot. Like so. And then you can just fuss with it until you get it to look how you want it to. Trim it up a little bit. And that's all there is to it. It's a pretty simple card. So here's the one we made, and here is our original. And thank you so much for watching today. All of my links will be listed down below if you're interested in working with me. And again, thanks so much for watching.